Hello, and welcome to All Points Bulletin TV. My name is Kendall Adams. This show is about unsolving homicide cases, where if you, the viewing audience, has any further information about bringing the right people to justice, you can contact us at the end of the show. On today's show, we have with us Elaine Price. Tell us about your case.
Yes, my son James went to a concert, Lil Wayne concert, July 26, 2013, at Verizon Amphitheater, and he was murdered at the end of the concert.
And do you know any of the surrounding causes that led to his death?
From what I was told, they was going in and some young men approached him and his fiancée and was saying indecent things to her, and he said something to them, and at that time going in, they stopped them and held them back and let my son and his fiancée go through. And then at the end, they apparently found them again in the parking lot, and they started calling him names, and he was trying to tell them he just wanted to go home. He didn't want no confusion, and one of them hit the fiancée side the head, and at that point he decided to protect her, and he was stabbed, and he bled out at the scene.
And the people who did this to him, they didn't know him, or he didn't have any relationship with the...
Well, I was told it was somebody he didn't know, people that he didn't know.
Wow. It's very interesting because how old was he?
He was 24 at the time.
24 years old, and I'm 20 years old. So thinking about cases like this, it really kind of makes it hit home because he wasn't that older than me. Can you tell us about like his family life and how he was with school and growing up and your relationship with him as his mother?
Well, from the time he was real young, he was real close to me. As he grew up, he got into football, where his father coached his football team, and he was actually good at football. The last year that he played, the year that he turned 12, he was awarded a medal by ESPN, but wow. Chris Jenkins of the Carolina Panthers had actually presented it to him because he had 237 tackles that season.
Wow.
And he liked to be happy, do a lot of jokes and stuff like that, Real giving person.
That's awesome. Do you know any of the work he did like around the community or with his family?
Well, actually I found out after he passed that he had helped a lot of people. He had one particular friend that was in the service, and his wife was put out of her apartment and she was pregnant, and they had a young child, and while his friend was in the service, he took her in and took care of her until his friend got out. And then he had another friend that was in college that he used to come when he had problems, and he would talk to him. Then another young man came to me and said that he knew him, but he was having a hard time at the time that he was out at the mall, and that he was telling him what was going on in his life, and he just gave him the money that he was going to use to shop with. So wow. He was a real giving person.
That's awesome. And going back to football, is something that you kind of noticed in him, like the passion for football at a very young age. Can you tell us about that?
Well, it wasn't what you could say a passion. It was just when he first started, something that we sort of put him in to keep him busy. It's just he turned out to be real good at it, and he liked to play football. So.
We also heard that he really liked Jordan shoes.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about that?
He turned that into like a little business, because once Jordans come out and they're sold out, they don't bring them out for a few years. Right. So what he would do, he would get out and he would camp out, and he would buy up a lot of them, and then he would sell them at a profit from home. And he did well with it.
Do you know you have any numbers or to tell us about how successful he was, or did you ever kind of see him light up when he would partake in that business?
Well, he was always happy about Jordans. It was I don't know, it was strange. I used to tell him, because when he would wear his shoes, he had this thing that he didn't like for him to be creased in the front. You know how you walk on shoes and, you know, you automatically get that crease?
Yeah,
he wouldn't let that happen.
Yeah.
I used to pick at him about it, because I'd be like, is something wrong with your feet? The way you're walking? And he's like, well, you have to walk a certain way. But, you know, that was odd to me.
Yeah, when I was in middle school, Jordans were really big at that time. And anytime we had conversation about shoes, you know, people were saying how they would wear double socks or like put stuff at the bottom of the shoe so it wouldn't crease. Yeah. And I was kind of like, I was like, you know, really, what's the big deal? I'm going to be walking around and stuff. They're going to get creases in them anyway. Yeah. And my cousin, he loves shoes as well, so we used to always have conversations about that. So that's like real interesting that you said that, because it just made me think about that memory when I was in middle school.
Strange.
Yes. Yeah. I heard he loved church and the Bible. And
he didn't go a lot, but he would always tell me when I mentioned to him about going to church, Mom, I read my Bibles, and he did know his Bible. You know, he'd be like, I read my Bible, Mom, I read my Bible. But sometimes he would meet us at church and stuff. And, you know, he basically hung out by himself. He had a lot of friends, but he wasn't one that went to clubs and stuff like that. He was into tattoos. He loved his tattoos. But he wasn't one that just hung out with a crowd or hang out in clubs and stuff.
So he had some tattoos. Did he ever, like, do tattoos for people? And
no,
do that for
no. He just liked to have them all over him, and I didn't like them. And he even went and got my name, and I'm like, is that supposed to impress me, Warren? You know, so. But he liked it, his tattoos.
Now, going back to the case, were you able to, can you take us back to that moment, like when you found out about him that night?
Well, when the detectives came, it was about 2:30 in the morning, and they knocked on the door. Actually, his younger brother was waiting on him to come from the concert, and he had waited until about 1 o'clock, and he told me he had to go home because his wife had left her medicine home. But he told me to let his brother know that he wouldn't be back, but he would see him the next day. So about 2:30, the detectives knocked on the door. I looked at the door, and I'm wondering, you know, why would they be here? You know, not thinking that, you know, something had happened to him or something might have happened to my daughter, because she don't live with me. But when the detectives came in, he asked me, was I Elaine Price? And I told him, yeah. And he asked me, was anybody at home with me? And I told him my husband was there, but he was asleep. My granddaughter was up in the back, and she had fallen asleep. And I thought she was still asleep, but she apparently had woken up. And he asked me to sit down, and I told him, I said, no, I don't want to sit down. You can have a seat if you like to, but I don't want to sit down. And finally, it sort of forced him to just tell me that, you know, my son had been killed. And I couldn't react. You know, I knew they was telling me the truth because I'm looking at the badges.
Right.
But I didn't want to believe it. So at that point, I told him, I said, well, let me get my husband. And when I turned around, my granddaughter was right there. And I told her, I said, go upstairs and get Papa, you know, and tell Papa to come downstairs. But she had heard the conversation. And when she got to the top of the steps, I heard her say, Papa, Uncle Warren's dead. And I heard my husband say, no, he ain't dead. And then he came downstairs, and when he walked to the doorway and saw the detectives, you know, he sort of lost his balance somewhat. But it was, I don't know how to say. I really felt at the time. I felt, you know, bad, but like I said, I couldn't react. I just couldn't react at the time because I guess I just didn't want to believe it.
And were you able to, or did you have to go and identify the body? Did they allow you to do that?
No. When I asked the detective, did I need to go identify the body, he told me that my son had already been taken to the coroner's office for autopsy. So thank you.
And that's interesting because I was thinking about that because on TV a lot of times you see shows that deal with crime and deal with murder. Usually, you know, in the show they ask the families, you know, do you need, would you come and view the body? And so to hear that in real life this is not allowed to families, it is kind of it's really striking because I think that families should be able to do that just before they are even touched.
Yeah.
They need to have that time to get closure. So can you tell us just how the family is doing, and can you tell us about that, how the family is doing now?
Well, the family's doing good. My biggest concern in the beginning was my son, my youngest son, because he had a very hard time. My daughter had a hard time too, but he stopped eating and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And he wouldn't even drive his car. He wouldn't pick up his car for about 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And that was unusual for him. So I worried about him as well as my daughter, because she was going through some things, with it. She always thought that her brother was set up. And she went through a lot. And then I had to worry about the grandkids because they was real close to him. But they managed to deal with it. We talked to them about it. They was able to go see his body and sort of, get the, get the feel of, him wasn't going to be around no more. So, my husband had a hard time. He wasn't satisfied until he was able to actually see the body, because he kept saying, I need to see him. So when we went to make the down payment for the funeral, I asked him could he see his body before they dressed him, and he was allowed to do that. So, but now, we get together, we laugh. My son always tell jokes. He's more so like a small Warren, He liked to joke and kid around. That's what they used to do all the time. They used to drive me crazy upstairs because I would be at them about making so much noise up there, and I would tell the oldest one, when the youngest one was going to high school, you need to leave him alone, let him go to sleep. And my son was telling me how he used to sneak back across the hall, Mama, go to bed now. So,
And they'll get up.
Yeah, and they get up and do the same thing. So, but, we talk about him and stuff and remember him. And every year, I've decided to have like a memorial service, in memory of him. And the last 2 years, it's been a big crowd. He has a lot of friends that's still loyal. They call, they check on me and my husband. Just stop by to see how we're doing.
Beautiful.
And everything. So we have a lot of support with family and things like that.
And can you just give us some more information about, the details of the memorial service and how you really were inspired to really plan these yearly memorial services for him?
Well, when he first passed, I used to think about him a lot, and at that time I was dealing with a lot of health issues. And it was a time right before he passed that my husband had to go out of town, and what they would do, nobody was living at home, they would like take shifts, coming to check on me. And this one Saturday, my husband had to go to a funeral, and my daughter, she's the oldest. She came to check on me that morning to make sure I had food. And then Warren came around noon, and he hung out with me a little while until the younger one came. And they just used to, just be there for me, that during that time. And I had to do something. I had to get myself busy. I went, and I decided to do it, So the first one, basically, I decided to do it was because I had so many people that supported us that I really didn't get around to thanking, just to say thank you for being there. And I decided to do that so, I could, thank everybody.
Thank you.
And then I made this banner that I use and it basically got pictures of him when he was young, baby, the day he died, his tombstone and stuff like that. And one side I made the banner where it's about, his life, things that he was doing, different pictures of different things that was happening in his life. And on the other side, I decided to do like the maternal grandparents and, us, and then the immediate family and the paternal family. And then I just decided that, every year that's what I was going to do. I was going to just celebrate his life. So, that's where we're at. We did introduce this year starting a scholarship fund in its name.
That's very beautiful.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll find out more information about the scholarship in his memory.
Right.
This new dad is picturing a tree house in the sky, but he's ignoring the instructions. Good luck, big guy. His kids know that he's building without a clue. Never been so good with nails and glue. Now we're trapped inside a box. I hope mom knows what to do. Mom! See, you don't have to be perfect to be the perfect parent.
Thousands of siblings in foster care will take you just as you are.
Get your ass. You're not sitting here.
Yes, I am.
Move. Give it to him hard.
No.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Why you stabbing me with it? No.
They want to help,
Ow.
but don't know how.
Oh, you got...
Teach your kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
Don't worry, 74 people were picked before me in the NFL draft. To fight childhood obesity, United Way and the NFL are helping kids play at least 60 minutes a day.
Okay, time for the team obstacle course. Yay!
What this place needs is more healthy kids. To get involved or donate, go to unitedway.org/play60.
Now I get it.
This is the moment I knew. His future had no boundaries.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Hello, and welcome back to All Points Bulletin TV. Today we have with us Miss Elaine Price, and we ended the first half on talking about your son's scholarship. Can you give us some further information about that?
Well, what we're targeting is high school students. I want to set it up where, I can get, letters from all the high schools in Charlotte and sort of choose, a person that really has a need for it. And once we choose that and find out what school they're going to, we'll be issuing them funds out to the school.
Mm-hmm. Are you all planning any banquets or fundraisers for the scholarship?
Well, we hadn't got that far yet.
Okay.
Right now, as far as I got, I've done the assumed name. I've gotten in contact with the IRS because I got to have a tax number before I can set up the account. Mm-hmm. And then, we'll work with that. My husband and I has talked about some things to do as far as raising money, but we are going to go on GoFundMe. Right. And, do a video and try to start with that. But we'll be raising money as well. Mm-hmm. And, I do have a few people that is saying that they will donate and we'll be asking for donations. So, yeah, but I do have faith that it's going to happen.
I believe that too.
Yeah.
I believe that too. Your son, as you talked to us, had a very beautiful, giving spirit. Mm-hmm. So I believe that God will really bless your family to have the means and support so you can go out and continue his legacy by giving to others and helping their dreams come true with their education. Mm-hmm. So did he have any favorite college basketball teams or football teams that he really enjoyed?
At the time that he passed, he liked it, the Heat, Miami Heat with LeBron James. Mm-hmm. And he liked the Carolina Panthers, so,
yes.
He was talking, his friend was telling me that he was talking to him about trying to get back into school, and he had talked to this gentleman about it, but it never happened because, they was in the process of talking about it, but he hadn't discussed it with me at that time.
Yes, that's one of my favorite teams too. He is, I'm kind of a fan, but I really enjoy the Carolina Panthers. I tell everybody, when I go back to school, I'm like, Carolina Panthers, that's my favorite football team. They have their ups and downs, but it's okay. My sister just got me a Cam Newton jersey.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to make sure I wear that when I head back to campus next weekend and be proud about where I'm from. Because we had a rough season. You know, we could have made it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's okay. It's okay. Hopefully we'll get there this year.
Yeah.
I have faith in Cam Newton that he will bring us to the Super Bowl. If not, I'm still a supporter. I'm still a fan.
Yeah, my son was a diehard fan. He didn't care whether they lose or not. I know one year my husband went to the Super Bowl in Houston. His brother and him had a Super Bowl party at a friend's. And I hung out with a couple of girlfriends, you know, but they were diehard Carolina Panther fans. You know, they don't care whether they lose or not. They still going to be there with them. So.
Yeah, I remember the different Super Bowl parties, like, growing up. And it was funny because when you said that about the parties, it kind of jarred a memory when I was younger and we were going to a Super Bowl party where the Panthers were playing. And we had got a flag, like a Panthers flag to put on the side of the car on the windows. And we're driving to our destination. And my dad noticed that the flag fell out the window. And we were like, hold on, we got to stop. And it was raining and the roads were muddy and stuff. So he pulled over to the side of the road and to get it. And so when he went behind the car, he noticed that somebody picked it up and drove off and took our flag that we just bought. It was brand new. But I tried not to let it get me down too much. And we went and enjoyed the football party. That's awesome that he enjoyed football. And just, is there anything else that you would want us to know about your son that will really make people very passionate about getting justice for you and your family?
Well, I just basically wanted to say I would appreciate it if anybody that knew anything that happened would come forward and get in contact with the police and let them know what happened so they can solve the case, because it's hard when you don't know, why a person actually killed your child, and that's where I'm at right now. I don't know why. They said it was somebody that he didn't know, and it makes me wonder, why would somebody just take a person's life and not know him or have a reason to? So that's one thing that bothers me, and I don't even know whether I get closure. Even if they find him, I don't know whether I have closure, because it still will be that question in the back of my mind: why him? Why did they choose him?
Right. We're going to take another quick break, and when we return, we're going to have some more information from the mother, Miss Elaine Price, about her son, and hopefully that will inspire you to gather or find information that will help this family get justice.
When you're out there, there's no telling what you'll find.
I see it! Oh, look at you.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
You taught him how to hit a baseball, how to hit a receiver, the strike zone, the net. You taught him how to hit the upper corner. You even taught him how to hit the open man. But how much time have you spent teaching him what not to hit?
They told me a bottle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise. And be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
This new mom is struggling to get the skates just right. And now she's holding on for dear life. Her kids can see she may have broke her knees. They still love her though she looks like she's attacked by killer bees. I'm allergic. Proof you don't have to be perfect to be the perfect parent.
Thousands of siblings in foster care will take you just as you are.
Welcome back to All Points Bulletin TV. We have with us Miss Elaine Price, and we would just like to get some more further information, the place, the date, the location again for our audience.
Well, it happened at a Lil Wayne concert at Verizon Amphitheater, July 26, 2013.
And we will have more information that you can contact us at. Yeah. Hello and welcome back to All Points Bulletin TV. We have with us Miss Elaine Price, and we would just like for you to give us some more further information about your son's death, the time, the location, the place for our audience.
Well, it happened July 26, 2013 at a Lil Wayne concert at Verizon Amphitheater.
Okay. And I actually believe that the Verizon Amphitheater is now called the PNC Music Pavilion.
Yeah.
So audience, make sure, I just want to make sure that you all know that the Verizon Wireless Amphitheater is now called the PNC Music Pavilion. And if you have any information, please make sure you call the numbers below and pay attention to the contact information below. And when you call us, we will make sure that we will put you in contact with someone that can get the information to the right people so we can get justice for this family. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
I really appreciate it.